Ta da da da. Doc, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. TGIM, thank goodness it's Monday. Another fun filled day. And what a wild story at the same time we've found in the news. We are surprised. Not a lot, not a little, kind of stop in the middle. Uh, Renaissance, the one fund that we always feel like we're competing against, has been doing some type of insider trading. It's kind of crazy. Their public funds have lost like 25 and 35%, and their internal funds made 76%. So in other words, if you work for the fund, you made 76%, and if you invested in the fund, you lost 25, 30%. Ouch. That sounds like an investigation coming around the corner. But then they were big contributors to Biden, so anything's possible. They may just forget about it in the end. All right. Anyway, that's the Renaissance story. We can get into that deeper if you care to. But it does blow my mind that this is on the front pages of the internet that we're looking at today. It's like, wow, damaged city. Damaged city. So anyway, chain smoking Jimmy has done it in the wrong way finally. All right, let's see what we got going on here. I think I do hear my voice. Can you hear me now? Yep, there you go. I can hear me now. All right, and what do we got going on there? Let's put up the Swiss franc against the dollar. They really sold the dollar on Friday, which was really interesting. You know, they just sold it down hard, which was kind of surprising, and then. You can see right here. Let's get this up there. And there it is on Chicago Quant. They're popping it back up a little bit there. So, but look at that. Bang. That's one of the biggest candles we've seen in a while. I'm not sure, it was systemic across the board. You could see it in all sectors. I went and I started looking at the bonds and so forth. I was wondering, was there a move that I didn't see in the bond market? But the bond market was relatively docile. So someone decided to lighten up on dollars, take profits on a Friday. I guess that's what it came down to. But it was pretty powerful because it hit all the pairs trades, which was very interesting. And we'd been talking for like a week and a half, since I guess you could say these lows in here, right there. We were talking about be long or be wrong. You can see our daily buy was way back in here, and we're in a weekly buy. But they did this on all the products. We can go around the neighborhood. Welcome to my neighborhood. There's the euro. Euro did the same exact thing, and the cable. Well, the cable is always showing this strength somewhere along the line. It did not take out the highs here, but you can see today they're pushing on it a little bit there. It was, kind of moving down a little. This product also, that was the buy there on, I guess that would be Friday. So we put that line in there. Let's put that in there. It showed us the volatility signal and put us through here. So the opening of the bar on Friday morning put us into the buy there. And that's what that was all about. And that caught the wave nicely. And then, let's do a control R on that. And you can see they're trying to back it off a little bit in here, just like the rest of the products. But I thought that was interesting. Every pairs trade you look at, you're going to see that bump on Friday. Ferris, how you been? You've been hiding. I haven't seen you lately. You've been busy. Well, that's good. School. What's going on? Anything particular? Good to see you come back. What a crazy story in Renaissance this morning. Crazy, crazy. I don't know if we'll see an investigation or not because they're very connected to the the regime that we have right now. So I hope you are well. I am, thank you. Would love if you could check natural gas for me. I have quite a large bet on it. Let's take a look. I know we're in a weekly buy. You can see it right there on the fact check spreadsheet. We're 5 weeks in a buy. I do believe we closed in a daily buy too. Let's go over and check it out. Matter of fact, I think it's a couple days in the daily buy to be exact. Right there's natural gas in March. No, okay, so Monday, or I guess it was Friday, they put it into a sell, but we're in a weekly buy, so you're not taking the short. But look at all that congestion. That's kind of curious. And let's give that a refresh. That's usually a warning that some real action is coming. So obviously that could be very positive for you. Now, what is that? They're all minuses. How could you get a green out of that? That doesn't belong there. And that red doesn't belong there because of that. And that green doesn't belong there either. I'm not sure how that all happened. And then you can see now, today, if we could get a green dot and a close up there, it would join in the weekly, and you could be long very comfortably. Now, let's just take a look at natural gas on Dukascopy and take a look and see how. I think we're at some of the highs, too. I do think we're in some of the highs. There's no doubt about that. There's the gas. There it is right there. And I think we're looking at 2-year highs or 3-year highs or 5-year highs, something like that. We're going to go to a monthly chart. Let's see. Okay, so they did pierce back in 18, yeah. So back in 18, they did run up here, some type of spike for, what was that, October and November. They spiked it. But did they take out that high? That's the late 2016. We're playing around with some high numbers here, and I guess this is the action we saw in, what is that? That's September of this year. They ran it up over. Okay, they did get over the $3 area. So we're seeing some strength in here. Maybe it's going to take out these highs here. I'd like to see this turn back up. The good thing for you right now is that it is in a weekly buy and does not look like it wants to release itself. And we can get rid of that too. Not sure how those things got filled in. I don't think many people ask us about the natural gas, but it's been really weird too. You can see that. Let's put a Control R on that. You know, they've been battling with itself. You know, it goes into the sell here. You can't take the sell on a short term, and all you're doing is stuck in neutral, watching this thing run up, and you're not getting any signal to get long in here. And that's the irritating thing. Look at that. That's usually a sign of something really wild going to occur. What are you thinking? Are you seeing something in particular in the natural gas that's got you caught on that? That's the math here is telling us that something's brewing. Maybe, you know, it's been down. Remember, this product used to trade in the 6s and the 7s. This is kind of like the reverse of the Turkish lira. You know, this thing cruised for years in the 6s and the 7s and the 5s, and then all of a sudden, over the last 3 or 4 years, 4 or 5 years, something like that, remember there was a massive bankruptcy with the #1 trading firm with natural gas. They lost $9 billion. They had made something like $12 billion trading it like a wild man, and they found that there was a. Then the story finally got out that they owned all the back months, you know, for 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 years, and they were holding up with the contango. They were holding the natural gas up really high, and so then there was a collapse in the market. They lost. I want to say they lost about $1.5 billion to $2 billion out of everything they made. They lost that. So they had made, you know, $8 or $9 billion over a 10-year period, and they lost like about $1.5 billion more than what they had actually made over that decade. And then and now we're looking at this, and you can see it's confused. It doesn't know how to get out of its own way on a very day-to-day basis. And at the same time, the weekly doesn't want to let go. The weekly wants to hold on. So the bigger question is, you know, what are we getting ready to see? Is there going to be I know that the new political regime in the United States is very anti all this stuff. So not sure what that exactly means. In other words, are they going to cut the inventory and the demand will still be there and it'll drive the prices up? Because remember, we're measuring it by cubic feet. So what do you see? Do you have what makes you get long? In other words, what makes you get into this trade to begin with? I can see just looking on our charts here why we would think about getting long it. You know, I mean, I could see that island. You see the island gap. That's what they call that, an island gap, right here. and they're kind of rare, and it closed this gap here. So I guess the gap traders would be very happy. But then you can see another one here. Now this literally could be, I don't know, what is that? About every 20 days or 25 days, something like that. And that could be literally a contract expiring, and that doing it. But this is very interesting on the island gap situation. Let's tighten that up a little bit on Chicago Quant. Yeah, and you can see it was up in the threes in October and November. So I imagine you're thinking that this is going to bring itself back up into that zone. I guess we could take a look at the back month and see what's going on there. It's the weather plus more demand expected from return to normal life. Okay. Head and shoulders, right? Right. I see that also. Yeah, I can see that. I see good reasons for you to be long, especially with I'll tell you, the number one in my head, obviously, you know how I think, and that is that it's got a weekly buy going on and it doesn't seem to want to let go. Now, this this island gap up has been generating a bunch of red dots, but it doesn't seem to want to let go. You know, it doesn't want to get you into the long, which is kind of odd. Now, you can see here, let's put it on J4X on a daily. And you can see this thing's been fighting with it also. See how the white line keeps on drooping underneath the dotted line, and now right here, this is telling you to be long in here, which is pretty impressive. This is definitely very impressive. And you can see all our red. Let me just give that a Control R one more time. I think we should go look at another month too. I'm going to do this. I'm going to copy this and create another month too. I want to see what's going on in the back months. Copy window, paste window. And that's the March contract. Let's put let's see, March, April. Let's put a May contract in there. Let's go way back. You know, let's see what we can do here. Add the symbol, futures, and let's put May in there. All right. You would think that there would be a big contango with that. And that's K, right? For May. Where is K? There it is. So, see how they go way out, all the way to 2028, 2029. That fund opened up the doorway for this product to trade back months dramatically, just dramatically. Let's see, May. There's May of 21. Let's take a look at that. That was a really wild story. I don't know if you remember much of it. I forget the guy's name. He was a Canadian trader. And he had the whole market locked up. And people didn't realize he had the market locked up. You know, in other words, he was controlling like 80% or 90% of the back months. Or, you know, the contangos. So that really, when that became known, they crushed this market. And at the same time, he was so leveraged. Yeah, see, that's interesting. So let's widen that. All right, so it's trying to get into the buy with no problem here today. But that's interesting with that island top. You know, it held itself sideways for a couple days, and then that did it put us in the buy there? Yeah, it did. That put us into the buy here, and then you got a sell off the next day, like that. That put us into the buy, and that put us right into the sell on Friday. And then we're flirting with the buy again today, very easily flirting with it. That's interesting. This thing's really gapping. There's a lot of gaps in there. That's very interesting. Hey, middle age. How you doing today? Inverse head shoulders break on the daily. Yeah, it's kind of wild, isn't it? Oh, here, which can't you see? Can't see the entire screen. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, let's move that over. There we go. That's interesting. That is interesting, the way that did that. I don't know. You know, this is giving me a warning. Like, it joins in on this, it could take off. It could go do this. Let's scrunch that down. It could go after the 320 area, that type of thing. You can see that thing. Now, look at the back month. It only got up to 3, whereas the March contract, let's go back to that March contract. Oh, and let's do this too. Let's write this in here for April. This is the May contract. So we're going to just put that in here, and then we're going to go back to the March contract, which was up in that area. May 21, like that. And then let's save that. And then let's go back and look at, there's the March contract. March played with the 320, and you would assume they might go after it. Now look how hard it's fighting to even just get plus on this. They're probably thinking, you know, we're heading towards spring. So that's a real curious thing there. That's an interesting. I would be concerned about being short. That's for sure. And do that just because of the weekly and all that convulsion of wrong. Doc's math won't put up with wrong for long. You know, didn't mean to rhyme there, but you know, it doesn't like being wrong. The math will readjust itself, as many of you have seen here. It will readjust, and it might just go to 320 or 330 or 340 out of nowhere. Wouldn't surprise me, Ferris, at all if you had an explosion in that. That would not surprise me. My math does not. It has to go the other way. We have to get into a weekly sell, and it slides down with a good win, or they're going to jack this puppy. They're going to take it up because my math is not comfortable with being wrong for too long. It will turn on its own. You know, I have no control over it. It does what it does, and you know, market forces can try to hold it down, but the natural tendency of our algorithm is to pick up on the minute actions that indicate the direction in the end. So the back month, as we just saw, you know, the May contract, which is the springtime, and not necessarily a necessity for natural gas. Let's see, where is it at? Let's go take a look at it right there. Is showing a lot more smooth. Now that's interesting. Was that? Yeah, that's right. See, that's interesting how the back months followed things pretty well, and we're in a weekly sell there, and then it gets into the buy here. I guess move one over for the May contract, like right there, the opening of the next contract. But we're still in a weekly sell, so you can't really take it and then it dips again. But look at the strength in it, and then it finally puts you into the better buy after this sell here. I guess we could grab that and just move it over like that. There's the sell, and then we'll grab that, and then there's the buy right there. But it's more of an island, but it takes you all the way up to 80 from 70, something like that. And then it catches this wave, but we're in a weekly buy, so you can't take the short. You only can take the long. But this here, with the way the math is so upside down, makes me concerned that a pop is coming around the corner. So keep your stops. Be smart. Don't do anything, you know, gutsy like pull stops off or anything like that. But it looks like you're right on the right side of it. That's for sure. I'm thinking a spike within the next 10 days if it breaks recent high. Yeah. Well, guess what? New York and in the United States here, they broke records from 1869. We're not seeing it here. I'm 150 miles away. We're not seeing it here. We're seeing good weather. You know, snowstorms that disappear. You know, they melt away. That type of thing. You know, enormously low temperature, enormously low accumulation, and high temperatures like 51 degrees Fahrenheit, which is globally, what is that? That's 18. It's about 9 degrees Celsius. So we're getting snow with you know, 3 degrees Celsius, 2 degrees Celsius, 4 degrees Celsius, stuff like that. You know, we're seeing 9 degrees Celsius, and we have snow on the ground, just light, very light compared to the rest of the Northeast. We're getting hit from the ocean temperatures are keeping us protected around here. Interesting. Thank you for pointing that out, Ferris. Thank you for pointing that out. Because we don't really pay attention to the nat gas that much. Interesting. We have a few people that watch it, and I think we send a chart out on it, but not really, not something I really look at too much, especially when you're coming into February now. You know, that's usually like the topping month. Maybe there's, You know, we've seen the vigilantes do the GameStop and the what's the others? Uh, Nokia, um, BlackBerry, and Bed Bath and Beyond, and we've seen those vigilantes trap the shorts. Maybe we're seeing the same thing here. In other words, the shorts are short, and they're saying, okay, we have to deliver at the hub, and we don't have anything to deliver, and so our weekly's holding up, and the island is there, and you can see that they're trying to sell it, and you get the red dots, and there's no follow through because their shorts are covering and covering. That could be exactly what we're seeing here. That's why we're seeing this craziness, and it'll be. I would say this, Ferris. You know, when you get out fast. In other words, when it spikes and gives it to you, don't wait. Make sure you get rid of 90 or 80% of it. Boom, run, because you don't know. That could be like a short covering spike, the way they ran GameStop up to 483 from 20, and now it's trading at what, $60? Can you imagine the poor people who bought 400 or 450 or 480 or even 350? Wow, you know, that's ugly. All right, let's head back to the currencies. We'll finish that off, but trust me, middle age and the rest of you, if you guys if you got anything else to ask, I'll stop and we'll go after it again. So if you have something in your head that you want to ask about or look at, just give a yell. We'll go after it. I'm just going to cruise by. Where did we leave off? We did the 3 of those currencies, so we'll just keep on rolling. We'll take a look at Turkish lira real quick. And you can see the pressure on this still gliding down on the weekly sell here and the daily sell for 3 weeks now. You can see it over there on line 17. 14 days now. 3 full weeks in a sell. And 8 weeks in a weekly sell. Take a look at Canadian. Canadian can be related to the energy sector. We usually look at that. Let's take a look and see here. It could be a combination of all of it. The pipeline thing, and I mean, you know, you just don't know. This new regime has got some really weird ideas about energies. I have my orders ready. Let's hope it squeezes. I agree with you. Yeah. And a trailing stop, you know. If you don't get filled, go with a trailing stop so it adjusts for the action. Yep. And by the way, Bitcoin is now breaking new high. Is it really? Let's check that out. They got a new future starting today too. Where are we at here? Yeah, it closed in a weekly buy. Is it a weekly buy? Bitcoin's a weekly buy and 3 days in a daily buy. Let's see where it's at. I'm just looking on the fact check spreadsheet. Wrong product. Okay. Let's go right there. No, right there. There we are. Yeah, my son is long doggy something. Oh yeah, look at that. He's going after the all-time highs. My son is long something called dog coin, and you know he's had it since like a quarter of a cent. And he wanted to sell it last night. He was telling me this at dinner. At his, we were down there watching the Super Bowl at his house, and I said, "Why? Why sell it? It's a crypto. These things." I said, "With the way the society is right now, financially." I don't think I'd sell any crypto. I'd keep them. I mean, I would put stops in if you're trading short term, of course, and money management. But overall, I think that the game is on the upside. I really do. And then there's a new one coming out today, so that's going to put some juice in it. But what is this thing up? This is like on Friday it closed at it closed in a buy, and where's the line at? Let's do a control R there. Yeah. So. What is that? But I guess it now there's a red line in there. But why is this fact check spreadsheet have it on a 3? 1, 2, 3. So that did not close, but there's a line in there. Oh, it did. That's right. And I didn't respect it. I remember that. I left that on the fact check because everything was climbing back up into the plus. Let's see where did it close. It closed at. It closed higher too. Was it 38,160? And where's it trading out? 38,160. And so it's trading at 43,200. So what is that? $5,000? Yeah, it's up $5,000. Ow. Ow, 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 ow. So up 5,000 for the day. That's a nice breakout. And I wonder what Dogecoin is doing. Let me go take a look at that. I saw it trading at like 7.5 cents. I said to them, don't sell it. Don't. These cryptos, there's not a lot of confidence in the overall market in some ways. You know, in other words, there's a lack of confidence out there. The cryptos are really. Is that 34 cents? No. Yeah, maybe. No. So that's 3 cents. Okay, so where is it at today? Let's see. All right, so Dogecoin is trading at. I'm just curious now, looking at all these things. Let's see, open source pure digital currency. Let's see, here we go. Here's one. And so Dogecoin, 13 cents. No, it's still trading at 7.5 cents. So that was last night, up 22%. Yeah, that's the only thing I see at this point in time is that the cryptos are, and then, like I say, Ethereum, which is starting today, is up at $1,700. So that's going to be very interesting because there's going to be a futures contract on that. That's going to push people into the game here, and probably put life into the Bitcoin and probably a lot of the other, cryptos. That probably should or will do that. I have my doubts that it won't at this point. Especially when you see something like the Renaissance problem that just occurred. That's going to have some problems going on too. So I'm not happy with the Bitcoin. You know, those moves are too big. A $5,000 move is what, a 3% move? Let's see, was it 5,000? So 1,000 is a 10% move. So it's got some real action in this thing. Too much action. It shows illiquidity. Obviously, one thing you don't want to do is be short the thing. They also have options on this thing, so you can do binaries on this product at the same time. Let's see, where are we at here? All right, so that's the cryptos. I see what you're saying there, and it does look like there's a lot of hunger for that stuff. All right, now, there's J4X. Let's take a look at it. Let's look at the Bitcoin on J4X too, because Dukascopy's trading at also. Right there. Yeah. A lot of action. A lot of strength. There's a lot of confusion about the whole world economy at this point. Anything's possible. You have to imagine one thing is for sure is that there's going to be money running towards alternative assets. You just know that's out there. If they could do what they did to GameStop and all those others, then you have to assume that alternate assets are going to have pressure on them on the upside. There's money going to be saying, okay, especially when you see some of these hedge funds, like what was it, or just the fund itself, Guggenheim, where they're totally wrong and did the same mistakes as Renaissance did with the February, March, April, May, and June markets. And so they stepped up and bought Bitcoin, like a little over $600 million worth. And they, at the $18 and $17, 18, I guess it was like 17,000, 16,000, 18,000 area. It popped the Bitcoin at the time. And now look at it. It's doubled in value. So some of these funds are going to, they have billions of billions. And there's talk that there's $1.2 trillion, $1.1 trillion, something like that wants to come into the market overall. Not the cryptos, all asset classes. There's over $1 trillion looking to get in, and they have no choice. They have to be in. In other words, whatever incorporation manifesto they have, that money is going to come into the marketplace. And there's been talk about that for a couple of weeks now. And there's the potential for melt up. Instead of a crash, it's a melt up. And what we just saw with the vigilantes doing pressuring the shorts in some really weak, low mid cap stocks like GameStop and BlackBerry and so forth, it just says to you that they will come running in for this assets. So traders, be careful. Don't be too fast to be short these cryptos, especially with us in a weekly buy at the moment too. So that's where we are now. Let's check out. Let's see, what else can we check out here? Let's check out. See what the crude oil's doing. Did we even look at Canadian? I don't think we even looked at the Canadian. I was heading towards that. Let's just take a quick look at Canadian, then we'll look at the crude oil. Canadian. Right there. There's Canadian. Okay, let's take a look at the Canadian. Oh yeah, we were heading towards that. Yeah, look at that. It's in a sell for a couple of days, but it closed in the weekly buy last week. And that's line 20. So we're in a weekly buy, but a daily sell. Hard to say there. Short term means oil should be moving up. Let's take a look and see again with the oil. Yeah, oil is moving up, 57s, which matches up with Ferris and his natural gas situation. Obviously, they're reaching for the carbons, and that's they're showing the strength there. Also, at the same time, we've been in a weekly buy in oil now for 11 weeks, so it's been riding, as Reverend Wright would say, riding dirty. It's running hard, that's for sure. And let's take a look at it here on the crude oil. Right there. You can see it on the J4X. It's been from the low 40s. We've been in a weekly buy now for a couple months. I mean, 11 weeks. This is the 12th week. That's 3 months, 4 divided into it. Let's put it this way, 2.5 months for sure. So, here we are, February, all of January, all of December, and part of November. We probably went into the buy. Let's see where we did it on the Chicago Quant. The line will be in there. Yeah, so it was the last week of November. So down in the mid 40s, low 40s, and now we're at 57. So it's up $17. And I imagine they'll be reaching for natural gas. I get it, Ferris. I do get it. So, and that's where we are with this stuff at this point. What else can we look at here? Anybody else see anything particular? Ferris, you see anything else out there? Middle age, should we check out some of the... we can do this too. Let me save the energies. We'll take a look at some of the... we've seen some really strange action in the way they won't let go of the commodities. Remember, we talked about this last week about how anything dollar denominated turns into a currency nowadays, which is kind of weird, but it's the way it works nowadays. So, I mean, when you have central banks being the main competitor, now there's crude. Let's see, we just looked at the natural gas, right? Yeah, so where's natural gas? Right there. It's still battling, trying to get going into the daily back. But what's funny is, that back month is looking pretty damn firm, which is really wild. So let's save that. And the weekly is very strong. Boy, you just got to wonder, with all Doc's math going totally wrong right here, you got to wonder how big of an explosion could it be on the upside. All right, and then let's take a look at the, where do we go? We go to, over to bean oil. Right there. And there's bean oil. That's been in a weekly buy forever, since just when oil went into crude oil went into the buy that same week. They've both been in buy signals since. So that's also flying solid. So we're seeing the bean oil very firm. Remember, you can burn bean oil, which makes it a petroleum product on certain levels. Also, it's a food at the same time, so you can do a lot of things with the bean oil. But that's our other energy complex side. We look at it, and that's the March contract. Oh, here you go. Middle H says April live cattle and grains. Yeah, let's check that out. April cattle rate. Where's April cattle? Down below. There's April cattle. That closed pretty firm on Friday. Thursday. Thursday closed. It went into the daily buy on Thursday, and we've been in a weekly buy. This thing's they're going for more highs again. This is getting weird when it comes to the foodstuffs. It's just they just keep on finding ways to go higher. Fundamentals are totally thrown out the door now. Don't you think? Middle-aged fundamentals seem to be put on the shelf at the moment. No one seems to. They've parked it in the barn. The fundamentals have been parked in the barn. Now let's go take a look. We're looking at. We got a cattle farmer that's looking at the back month for feeders. So he's looking at April 22 in this product, and look at that. That's been in a daily buy for 3 days. Yeah, okay. And the week's not calculating. I gotta figure out why that week is not calculating. But the daily is, and it's kind of interesting to see the strength in that thing. You can see, that's not showing us the math there at all, is it? No. Let's get rid of that dotted line too, like that. Interesting. That's April of 22. Let's go back to here's the Feb. Feb is just got rolling along. I guess it was. Let's give that a control R. Did it miss it? Yeah, that's what it was. Plot 1 was a minus. That's why it didn't get into the buy on Thursday. See, it's lagging along compared to the others. I saw that. I know we talked about the hogs in China on Thursday, I think it was. There was a real shakeout there. Okay, so that closed down on, and weekly sell too. Hogs, I don't know what's going on with hogs. We thought there was a lot of demand for the hogs. We'll save that. And then we take a look at beans too. Might as well, since we looked at the bean oil. Yeah, the fundamentals have been parked in the barn, and I don't know, they don't seem to be able to get out of their own way at this point. There's nothing. No, I mean, like I've explained the process. Any major product that trades billions of dollars worth, like these commodities do, are a currency now, because you can hedge the underlying commodity, but buy them with a foreign currency, which makes you long or short the dollar. And so then you can short these things and be short dollars. Long dollars. That makes you long dollars, and at the same time, you can hedge it by buying options, and so you're not at risk of the commodity, but you're at risk on the currency. And so you need enormous liquidity to play that game. And the commodities and the grains trade billions, and so that opens the doorway for those trading shenanigans. I guess that's the best way to describe it, is trading shenanigans. Whoop, what are we doing here? Oh yeah, that was beans. Let me save the beans again. There it is. Save the beans. Save the whale. There we are. So that's what we're talking about when we're discussing this action. We're discussing the idea that you can set up a currency position by trading these commodities, and it gives you insight. And since we're running very firm, on the commodities, and they're not letting go, that's why I keep on doing these webinars saying about strong dollar, because they're not backing these things off. And if they're not going to back them off, it tells us that there are synthetic players out there that are riding the dollar up, not down. They're riding it up. And so when we see these stories about potential, like, oh, the dollar's going to crash, I don't think so. These commodities are reaching, and when we go and look at commodities like oil and so forth, especially this, no, that's gold, but the size of the markets physically, okay, the bond market, biggest market in the world, beyond anybody's imagination. It's like looking at dark matter in the universe thing, big. Really big. And then the second game in town that's just not at same size, but it is big. It's like, a large galaxy. And it's the currency market. The currency market is enormous. Just enormous market. Incredible liquidity. And then the third one, which is smaller, of course, is the crude oil market. I mean, you're talking about 80 million barrels a day being moved around. And then after that, when you look at the stock markets, that's peanuts. The metals markets, peanuts compared to these other markets. And gold and silver and so forth, they are bigger, they're smaller than the energy market, but they are about the same size, I think, in terms like with the stock market. You know, they're way smaller markets, and so that's what the problem is that these markets, the 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 forex market is enormous, and the bond market is enormous, and the energy market is big, really big, and you know, not enormous, but it's big, and so you can play games with this stuff, and then the commodities. You know, you're looking at the beans and soybeans and corn and wheat and the meats, and they're reaching for them. And there's no logic to it at this point. Just as Middle Age says, Middle Age has been trading. What have you been trading? The meats and the grains. What? 20 years, 15 years? You've been trading them for a while, haven't you? He's a derivatives trader, so he does the binaries. He's doing the options. So Middle Age has been in this game for a while, and you know, that's what's going on. That's why we look at these things during a currency webinar, is because we know that they're using these things as surrogates. 25 years, yeah. So, you know, it's thank you, Middle Age. I appreciate you even coming in and visiting. It's nice to have veterans in here. It really is. We like to, you know, we call this the electronic trading pit. You know, where we try to act like a trading pit. Everybody's voice is listened to. No fights. We don't fight with anybody about what they say. We try to understand what they're thinking. You know, it's like a trading pit. We try to, we work as traders to trade. You know, we're trying to make money individually, but we're not, you know, being maniacs in the sense of like, you know, oh, you're stupid or something like that. It's like, no, you know what? For every buyer, there's a seller. For every seller, there's a buyer. You got to have the opposite side. If you don't have the opposite side, the markets don't work. So someone's got to take the opposite side of the trade. And now with options and binaries, you can do that and be on the same side as the long, or be on the same side as the short when it looks like you're taking the opposite side, but you're not necessarily doing so. So, yeah, these are uncharted territory as far as I'm concerned. I've never seen the grains and the commodities act like this in such unison. And what we're saying is, we've never seen them move away from the fundamentals all together so consistently. That's the weird part. So that tells you that these things are being used as surrogates. You know, money is coming into them, and they're buying them, and they're using them to put on positions in other things that we don't realize they're doing, like the currencies and so forth. And that's what that's all about. Let's take a look at the metals market. What did we do here? We did the three energies, right? So let's do the metals. So there's silver. Silver has been really curious in the sense of its. Oh, that's cool. And so it jumped into the buy on the close of Friday. I guess it was from here, right? Yeah, because of the close. So in other words, it hasn't really made anything from it, and we're in a weekly. Oh, you can't buy it because we're in a weekly sell. So it's a neutral again. We're stuck in that neutral situation again. Metals markets are having problems. The vigilantes tried to come into that. They learned that you can't push the metals market around. You know, the central banks, that's the central bank's neighborhood. And if they want it to go up, it's going to go up. And if they want it to go down, it's going down. And it doesn't matter how much the vigilantes want to try to do something about it. You can see it here. We're in a weekly sell, but in a buy. And we saw the platinum market close. I think I said to Robin 680. I think that's what it is. 680. Yeah, it was 680. I think that's where they closed the platinum market, in the 680 area. We've been talking about that. We call that the Yellen spread, because we think Janet Yellen, she kept it down when she was Fed chair, and more than likely they're going to find it. Yep, look at this thing again. So let's give that a refresh just to double check it. But yeah, what are we looking at here? We're looking at a platinum trading at $1,137. And let's just throw gold up on Dukascopy real quick, just to be able to have the two of them showing themselves a little bit more accurately here. And there's the gold market. That's spot gold at 1823. And let's just double check the futures market here. Yeah, 1823. So it's trading at parity. So then we go back to the platinum market again. Where'd we go? Where'd we go? Platinum. There it is right there. So we're looking at 23 versus 37. 37. No, 71. 71. Okay. So what is that? That's 1171. 1171. That's 652 basically. So we talked about it last week. Watching the spread, it was in the 740s. Said we'll be seeing the 680s and 690s, and here we are at the 50s now. This is the Yellen spread. We've been pushing it. Robin and I have been writing things about it. And then I got that crazy idea last week after talking with somebody, I don't know who it was, that made me think of something, that we're now seeing Blinder more than likely as the next Fed chair. So don't be short that spread anymore, traders. That's for sure. Don't be short it. Between Blinder and Yellen, we're going to see that spread contract even more. We'll be seeing the 200s. That'll be wild. All right. Now, what's the last one? Oh, copper. There's the March copper contract. And you can see the strength in that. And we did close back into the weekly buy. We're not going anywhere particular today. I only had 1 week in the sell after weeks upon weeks in a buy. Look at that. Early October. It was in a weekly buy from early October all the way up until here last week, 2 weeks ago it was, and went into the sell, and you had a little dip, nothing major. And then now it's back in the saddle again. It's back to the cowboy movies with me. One thing about the pandemic thing, the C-19 thing, where I'm able to wear a bandana. So John Wayne is back in style. I like that. There we are. And let me just double check if I saved the platinum. I'm just going to go back to it real quick and just save it. Back in the saddle again. All right. So there's the metal complex. And I guess then we could take a look at the stock indices. I think they're rocking too, right? Yeah. Well, it's a Yellen thing. That's what it is. I mean, when she was Fed chair, that spread was $1.25 or $1.50. Never two. The moment that the new chair came in, that platinum spread exploded. It went to $1,000. The spread. It used to be trading at parity or over gold, not under, and then. The change of policy, they were selling platinum and buying gold. And now, obviously, it's going to be the other way around. And we saw that weeks ago. So I think we've been talking about it. Rob and I have been posting it in bar charts for 3 weeks now or something like that. So we've seen that product go from $1,000 down to, what did I say it is now? $652. So it's picked up $350 on the spread. Robin says when he was a floor broker and a retail broker, he said that he's only traded it like 5 times. There's not a lot of real action in it. It's kind of a matter of fact. It's not even part of the COMEX. It's part of NYMEX, I think. So it makes it a little goofier. It's part of the energy sector exchanges. So and in here you can see this is the stock markets. Now this is where I think of the cryptos. Don't be throwing those things out the door too quick. And with over $1 trillion, and some are saying it could be as much as 1.2 trillion. That's 200 billion more. So 1 trillion and 200 billion could ignite this market on the upside. And that is a melt up is what it looks like we're looking at. And you can see it here today. It's kind of firm. It pushed it in the sell on Friday, but in a weekly buy, so you can't be short. Now it's lifting back up, and it's playing around with the potential of being in a buy. Let's put the green line up over here for tomorrow's bar, like that, or today's in the end result. So let's save that. And then S&Ps, they didn't look back. They held up really nice. Not sure why that's like that. Let's give it a Control R. So we got to move that over. So it was this one there. And so I think we were in a buy there. That's why we did that. It wasn't a buy. What's this fact check spreadsheet say? Some of these, yeah, 4 days, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So that was, no, this would be a 5th day. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So we're going to leave that there because at one time that was a green dot or it was plus for a couple days. Some of the data, what they do to the weekend, the way they remove data, change data, add data, do some really weird stuff. But you couldn't be short it, you couldn't be long it because we were neutral. But on Friday they closed it in the daily buy there. So the stock indices are showing some life in them. Again, which they had been for weeks. And you can see from here they were in a weekly buy for a while. Since first week of December. Did I say that? I did something with it. Just double check. There it is right there. And then there's the Dow Jones Industrial Average, same situation, showing strength. Also, Doc got a new wave signal in the Nasdaq and the transports, the Dow 20 transports. It's usually a new wave signal can indicate a new corner to be turned. In this case here, this corner that is turning may be up and away with those trillion trying to get into the market. Let's do a control R on that. So let's see. Middle H says you've been dead. Okay. Let's see what else we got going on here. Anybody else want to see anything particular? Oh, and let's take a look at the Russell, the epicenter of the crazy short situation. That's the where is it at? Where are you? There it is, right there. Now this is the Russell. This is the mid cap, low cap. This is like the cheapest of the indices. This has been in a weekly buy forever and ever since 2 weeks into November. Since the 20th, it's been confirmed in a buy. The product has gone up to 22 from 18 or 17 and change. So that's 400 points. 400 points on an 1800. That's a 25% move. Wow. Money running to make money because there's not a lot of places you can put your capital in and make money because of all the trillions in negative return. So there's the 4 stock indices. And let's just take a quick look at the bond market. If anybody wants to see a currency, let me know. We'll drift over to it and put it back in there. We can look at currencies just as well. There's some of these currencies that showing real life. Like I said, I was a little surprised to see the selling that we saw Friday in the currencies, but sure enough, they did it. And I ran right over to here when I saw it, and I thought, well, maybe the interest rates were going down, but they didn't. Interest rates, when this goes down, interest rates are rising. So the logic of why they would push the dollar down like that on a Friday, I guess just illiquidity maybe. Somebody not there to hold them up. There's always something like that going on. Central banks forgot to pay attention. They let somebody go home early. Yeah, don't worry about the dollar. I'm sure no one will trade it. Okay. Yeah, you can go home early. Super Bowl party? Sure. Super Bowl weekend? No problem. And then no one forgets. We've seen that happen in Japan, where somebody at the Bank of Japan is on vacation, and all of a sudden the markets go really odd, and then they realize somebody's not there to take care of things, and so someone usually gets fired or something like that for not stepping in or hiring, bringing somebody into that department to pay attention to whatever they pay attention to all the time. And we've seen that in the Bank of Japan, and they actually put it in the newspaper. You see it where they fired somebody because they, forgot to go to that desk and work it for the day because the person was on vacation or something like that. I guess they handed me a Harry Carry knife or something. I don't know. And so you can see here, this is the 30-year. Now this is going down. That means interest rates are rising. Normally, when interest rates are rising, you would expect currencies to be going up in value. That's what would be going on with the euro and so forth. And this dash up on Friday, interest rates were not going down, and that would be the normal reciprocating action. So again, that could have been literally a Super Bowl Friday where people somehow or another disappeared and didn't do their job, and now they'll just, someone's realized it and they go, okay, let's just strengthen the dollar again, but we're going to just, this time we're not going to pay attention to it too obviously. We won't make it look obvious. It's like the Swissy there. Now Swiss, that one's showing some real life. They were just picking it right back up again. Never went into a sell, which was curious. And we like to follow this as following the dollar. So that was just like a dead cat bounce, dead cat bounce, boom, right back up again. And you can see the weekly is not letting go either. But this, even the daily refused to go into a sell with that action. So that's kind of fun. Okay, traders. What else we got going on here? Let's take a look at the yen. You can see the yen showing good life. Daily buy for a while and a weekly buy. A lot of firmness in the math. I guess if Chicago Quant Technologies might become the #1 quanter after Renaissance blows themselves up. They really got, as they used to say in old TV, Lucy, you got lots explaining to do. Renaissance there. We're going to finish this off with the Renaissance conversation, and that is their medallion fund that they only allow employees to be invested in made 76%. Their two public funds that they allow the public to invest in lost around 30-some-odd%. There's a big question mark there. What are they doing, and why are they doing that? That's pretty blatant. No doubt that Jimmy Simons has got, like I said, he's really pally with the regime in power, and so we may not see an investigation. Just hand somebody a couple $1 million and that shuts them up really quick. Anything's possible. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. See if it just gets swept underneath the rug, because that's the way it works when you have the type of people in power that we have now. They collect money. And people, we just saw it with Biden's son. The law firm that was defending him, the managing partner now has been made a Department of Justice attorney who is going to be investigating him. You can't make this stuff up, honestly. You just can't. It's amazing. All right, and since no network is going to report it, it won't really matter, will it? So I guess it comes down to, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there to hear it, does it make noise? Why would anybody even ask that question? But when it comes, it must be aimed at Democrat politics in the United States. So if you have somebody that's going to be prosecuted and they hire the defending people and put them in the prosecutor position, is he really going to be prosecuted? I guess not. Isn't that a conflict? I guess not with this regime. So anyway, this is Doc from North America, waiting to hear that tree hit the ground. Happy trails to you until we meet again Tuesday cybernetically. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends.